Hi, I'm Sara Delaney with One Big Happy Yarn Company, and we are on block 6 of our 2024 Block of the Month blanket. I love this square. This has like 3D texture and interesting directions and interesting stitch groupings. We're gonna work perpendicular to our work. There's a lot in this square. It's probably the most complicated square in the blanket, but last month was nice and easy, and the last couple of squares in the blanket are fairly easy. So this felt like a good time for me to throw a curveball at you. If you haven't yet, you can pick up a kit or just the pattern at the link in the description below. Get yourself some Skipja's Stone Washed or River Washed XL, which is a worsted, heavy worsted weight yarn, an H8 5mm crochet hook, and you can follow along. Are you ready? As with all of the other blocks in this blanket, we're going to start with a chain ring. And for this block, we need a chain ring of 6. So there's our slip stitch to put our yarn on our hook. We chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then join with a slip stitch to the very first chain, and that forms our little ring. And that's where we're going to anchor the stitches from round 1. And round 1 starts with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's funny how many times our blocks start with this kind of symmetry. So chain of 6 into a ring, and then we chain 6. But this chain 6 counts as a double crochet and a chain 3. So now we're going to do a double crochet into the ring, right into the donut hole there, and then chain 3. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. Double crochet into the ring, chain 3, until you have 8 double crochets and 8 chain 3 sections. Go ahead and work your way around and join me back here to finish this round. So at the end of round 1, we've got to do a slip stitch to the 3rd chain of that chain of 6 that we started with. So there's the first double we did, and we'll go back from here. 6, 5, 4, 3. Wiggle your way through the heart of that chain for a slip stitch, and that's what joins round 1. Oh, it's a pretty simple little flower shape. We're about to get a little more complicated. Round 2 has a lot of double crochets. You ready? We start with a chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. Now in this chain 3 space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Then in this double crochet, we do a double crochet. Then in the next chain 3 space, we do 3 double crochets. Then in the next double crochet, we do a double crochet. So 1 stitch in every stitch, 3 double crochets in every chain 3 space all the way around. Go ahead and work that. Meet me back here to join. Here we are at the end of round 2. I'm going to do a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 that we started with. You should have 32 double crochets in this round. And then I'm going to cut my yarn. You heard me. I'm cutting my yarn and fastening off. So we've made what at first glance looks like the center of another square, right? It lays flat, but it doesn't really lay flat. You can see that it cups. Let me bring the finished square over here so you can really see it. It really sits up and it doesn't lay flat. I mean, you could fuss with it and force it, but it wants to keep cupping. And that's because there are as many stitches in round 2 as there were in round 1. If you counted your chains and your double crochets, there were 32 of them in total. And then we just made 32 double crochets. And that's not enough stitches for this to lay flat. If we'd added, if we'd done 4 double crochets in each of those chain spaces, it might be enough for it to lay flat. See, if I push on the edge, the middle pops up. Can you see that? There just isn't enough for it to lay flat. And that's okay. We don't want that. This is the 3D portion of this square. So that's round 2. It's finished. Now we're going to start round 3. We're going to have to rejoin the yarn. Round 3 is kind of magic. We're going to be working perpendicular to the work and behind the work, but it's not as complicated as you think. So I like to leave the tail when I finish this part so that I remember that this is where we finished off, and that's also where we started the initial rounds. And I never like to, when I have to rejoin yarn, I always want to start in a different place. So I'm just going to give this a quarter turn, just like that. And we're going to start in one of these double crochets, but we're actually going to start from behind. So what I like to do is sort of pull the work apart a little bit so that I can see that's that double crochet, and this is the top of that double crochet that this double crochet is worked into. Can you see that? Right there? So what I'm going to do is take my hook from behind and actually use the hook to hook the top of that stitch. And then when I roll my hook over and push it through, I'm in the correct stitch, but all of these stitches from round 2 are down and out of the way for me. And that's what we mean when we say work into the stitch from behind. So if I were to push my hook back, you can see that these round 2 stitches are in the front, and what I'm about to do is behind that work. And if I roll my hook back over here so I can see what I'm doing, that sort of reorients me. So that's how you want to start round 3 in the top of any double crochet in this round. Now, you're going to grab your yarn and you're just going to fold a loop and you're going to pull it through that stitch. That doesn't count as anything. It's still just potential. Then we're going to chain 7. But the first chain, I'm going to use both the tail and the working yarn. Nobody's ever going to see this chain. It doesn't matter that it's a little bit bulky and it's a little bit weird. It locked your tail in place, so it's not going to get, this stitch isn't going to get loose, and it's not going to begin to unravel as you work the rest of this chain. So it's a chain of 7. We just chained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This chain of 7 counts as a single crochet and a chain 6. Now this is where we turn and we work perpendicular to our work. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet. Then in the next chain, we're going to do a half double, yarn over into the chain, yarn over and bring up a loop so you have 3, yarn over and pull through all 3. Now we're going to do a double into the next chain. Now we're going to do a triple into the next chain. Now we have to go back down to round 1 and find the next spoke, that next double crochet. So we're attached to this one here. So we want to go to this one. And again, I'm going to pull it apart a little bit so I can see that's the double, that's the top of it. I'm going to come in from behind with my hook, actually hook the top of that stitch. And as I push it all down, I'm in that stitch. I'm going to do a single crochet. And that anchored this spike that we just made, which is how we make all of these star-shaped spikes behind this cup. Let me show you that one more time. So from here, we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the second chain from the hook, we do a single. In the next chain, we do a half double. In the next chain, we do a double. In the next chain, we do a triple. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the top of the next double crochet. And I did this way so I can show you working into the chain that we started with, because it's just slightly different than working in the top of a double crochet. But it's the same process. See, I'm pulling the work apart so I can see there's the chain that went into it. So if I come in here from behind with my hook, I can get my hook into the top of that chain, roll it over so that round 2 is now folded down. I'm just having trouble finding my working yarn. That's okay, there it is. And then I can single crochet here. And then I can do my chain of 6, make my nice star spike, go on to the next double crochet for a single, work your way around, and create 8 of these spikes. And meet me back over here to join the round. All right, when you get to the end of this round, it's gonna look like a crumpled starfish, and that's okay. You're gonna block it all out at the end, but you should have 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 still up here. And then to join, we're gonna join to the second chain of that chain 7 that we made. And the easiest way to find that is actually to follow this treble across the bottom of that point. Where that treble disappears into the chain, that's where you're going to do your slip stitch to join. That is the end of round 3. Now to start round 4, we've got to get all the way up here to the top. So we're going to travel by slip stitch again. So we're going to slip stitch our way up this chain. 4 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are at the top of this point and we are ready to start round 4. And we're going to start by making a corner because we've got to turn this 8 pointed crumpled starfish into a square. So we're going to chain 2. This counts as a half double crochet. Then we're going to do a half double crochet in that same chain that we did the last slip stitch. We're going to chain 3 and then 2 more half double crochets in that same chain. That makes our first corner. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the tip of the next point, we are going to do a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let me get that tail out of the way. The tip of the next point, we're going to do another corner. So 2 half double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. Chain 3. 2 more half double crochets in that same stitch. So 2 half double crochets, chain 3, and then 2 more half double crochets in the same stitch. There's the chain 3, 2 more half doubles here. That's 1, 2. Don't worry if you have to take your half double crochets in 2 steps. That is absolutely fine. So there, so we've made our second corner. You'll chain 5, single crochet in the top of this point, chain 5, corner, follow your pattern. It'll instruct you. Meet me back around here to join this round. All right, so to finish off round 4, we go back to that chain 2 that we started with, and we do a slip stitch. And that has really begun to turn this little crumpled starfish into a square. Yeah, if I put a little tension on it, you can see it. So fun. All right, you ready for round 5? I think I am too. Round 5 starts with a chain 1 and a single crochet in the same stitch where we did the slip stitch that joins round 4. Then a single crochet in the next stitch. Sometimes it's a little fiddly, so sometimes you can turn your hook over and use it like a hook to get through the stitch. Sometimes that first stitch off that's just after a slip stitch gets a little tightened up. So don't be afraid to do what you need to do to get in there. All right, then we have a chain 3 space, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna pause for a second because there's just a funny little thread in this yarn. So that, don't be grossed out, it's not anything gross. It's just hay or some other plant matter that was probably processed in with the cotton that the yarn was made out of. That happens sometimes. Boop, gone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so then 1 single crochet in each of these half doubles. 2. All right, then we have a chain 5 space. We're gonna do 4 single crochets into this space. 2, 3, 4. A single crochet into that single. 4 single crochets into this chain 5 space. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're back to the next corner. 1 in each half double, 3 in the chain 3 space, 1 in each half double. Work your way around. Follow the instructions in your pattern. Meet me back over here to join. So here we are, we've come all the way around. We're gonna do a slip stitch into that very first single crochet, and that joins round 5. All right, we have one more round to go. You wanna bet how easy this one is? It's 1 single crochet in every single crochet around. In those corners where we did 3, you're gonna do 3 single crochets in that center one. So start with a chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, 1 single crochet in each stitch till you get to those corners. There's 1, we just did 1 in the first one, 2, 3. So in that second one, we've got to do 3. That works us around that corner. And then it's just a straight line of single crochets across until you get to the other corner. Remember to do 3 in that center single crochet. Work your way around. Meet me back here to join. We're almost done. Last thing to do is slip stitch to that very first single crochet that we started with. Then we can cut our yarn over and pull through till that tail pops out. Snug it up. You should have 72 single crochets in this last round. This one really is gonna need a block, otherwise this is just gonna look like a crumpled starfish the whole time. But a little bit of steam or a wet block really changes how this looks. Let me show you in the blanket where we did it in this burgundy color and this garnet color. And it helps the cup to lay down just a little bit, but it still stays nice and 3D. So that is block 6. You need to make 4 of those. And then you will have block 6, block 5, block 4, block 3, block 2, block 1. We are 2/3 of the way through with our blocks, just 3 more to go. So if you haven't yet, go down to the description below, click that link, pick up a kit or a copy of the pattern so you can follow along with us on this epic 2024 Block of the Month Crochet Blanket project. Get your blocks done. Meet me back here for episode 7. Happy crocheting.